You sit with a menu and a small private hunger. The page feels like freedom. Anything tonight is possible. But your hand hovers over a dish you've always wanted to try, and another part of you speaks up. A memory of a rash, a doctor's warning, a label you've learned to read carefully. Your mind imagines a taste. Your body remembers a history. Somewhere between the two, a decision forms. If free will were absolute, why does your finger hesitate? Why does one quiet instruction, from tissue, from time, redirect your choice? Every day, choices happen. What to eat, what to wear, what to believe. And it feels natural to assume you are the one holding the steering wheel, guided by reason, preference, personality. But what if that feeling of control is only part of the story? What if many decisions are assembled long before they reach awareness, shaped by forces that are old, invisible, and mostly uninvited? Because sometimes, before you choose, something else has already placed boundaries around what choice can be. Take something simple, food. It seems like taste, health, mood, but taste didn't begin as a personal preference. A love for sugar and fat carries the fingerprints of survival, echoes from a time when calories were scarce and hunger was normal. Even now, cravings aren't always rational thoughts. They're signals, ancient biases running quietly beneath the modern mind. And inside you live trillions of microorganisms, the gut microbiome. They influence digestion, immune activity, and the chemistry that talks to the brain. The science is still evolving, and the effects are complex, but the direction is hard to ignore. Sometimes, I feel like eating this may not be a single voice speaking. So a choice can be less like a commander giving an order and more like a negotiation between different layers of you. Not surrender, just noticing. Now, take clothing. You're free to wear what you want until biology and society disagree. In freezing cold, you can't wear a bikini. Your body will tremble, shut down, and fail. In extreme heat, you can't wrap yourself in wool. You'll overheat. Even in comfort, there are lines you're taught not to cross. Culture decides what looks acceptable, modest, respectable, and what earns you approval or punishment. So, choice often lives inside a narrow corridor, wide enough to feel like freedom, but not limitless. Here's a thought experiment, not a prescription, meant only to reveal that corridor more clearly. Imagine a world where a new kind of fungus evolves, one that thrives in warm, moist folds of skin, kept alive by the very clothes people wear. It becomes dangerous over time. And the only known protection is sunlight, direct, natural sunlight, over most of the body, for as many hours a day as possible. Not a few minutes, not artificial light, real exposure, long enough to matter. Suddenly, the choice becomes brutally simple. Change what you wear, or accept serious risk. But for many adults, it wouldn't feel like a choice at all. It would collide with a lifetime of conditioning. Modesty, shame, identity, dignity. These aren't small things. Even with consequences on the line, many would resist. Public life would strain. People would withdraw, and what once felt unthinkable becomes a survival problem. Then time passes. Children grow up inside this new world. For them, exposure isn't shameful. It's normal, necessary, ordinary. One generation struggles. The next adapts. The third barely remembers there was ever a debate. The details are fictional, but the pattern isn't. We already live in a world where invisible life forms evolve faster than we do. Bacteria can share resistance genes. Some fungi are becoming harder to treat. Our biological evolution is slow, so we build faster tools, medicine, hygiene, technology to keep pace. And there's one more uncomfortable clue. In controlled lab tasks, scientists have found that patterns of brain activity can sometimes predict very simple actions fractions of a second before people report deciding. What that means for real life is still debated, but it suggests a possibility. Awareness may not always be the starting gun. Sometimes it arrives mid-race. So where does that leave free will? If microbes can nudge appetite, if social rules can narrow what feels possible, if brain activity can begin shifting before you feel the decision, then what is left to call yours? Maybe the old idea needs to shrink. The idea that you are free in an absolute sense, choosing anything, anytime, guided only by pure will. Instead, maybe free will is smaller, quieter. Not the freedom to do anything, but the freedom to move within constraints with a little more clarity. Think back to the menu, the dish that glowed on the page, how the body set a boundary, and the story of you negotiated with it. Like that, many choices arrive with invisible labels, some written by cells, some by culture, some by old experiences you barely remember. You're not a machine, but you're not a blank slate either. You're an animal, one species among millions, shaped by evolution, trained by environment, equipped with a brain that can imagine freedom even when it isn't total. Other animals make choices too. A wolf decides when to hunt, where to rest, but it can't choose to fly. It can't choose to breathe underwater. Its choices are real, bounded by what it is. Ours are too. We speak of philosophy, ethics, purpose, and even those arise in brains shaped by biology and experience, even when we interpret them through spiritual or philosophical lenses. Even our deepest values begin in tissue, then travel through story. And yet, within boundaries, a kind of freedom does exist. Not the freedom to escape cause and effect, but the freedom to notice it, to recognize which forces are pulling, to resist some of them, to question others, and in rare moments, to shift your path, slightly but meaningfully. Maybe that's what free will really is. Not an escape from nature, but a skillful way of moving inside it. So the next time your finger hovers over a choice, remember, you are not a single voice making a decision. You are a chorus. Some voices echo from ancient hunger, others from stories you inherited before you could speak. A few come from the quiet chemistry inside you. To hear the chorus, even for a moment, is not surrender. It's awareness. And that noticing, that small, steady pause, might be the freest thing you do today. You are not a puppet, but you are not a god either. You are something in between, a creature of instinct, bound by evolution, capable of dreaming about freedom, and sometimes, just sometimes, capable of stepping toward it.